Hello and welcome everybody to the seventh episode of a show about basketball. Today I'm joined by Off the Glass's own. He's my guy. He's he's everyone's guy, but more importantly, he's your guy, Charles. Charles, what is up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
Dude, I don't know how to feel after that Mavs game. We eked out an overtime win
Yeah.
against the Kings. Um, Overall, I mean, Luca of course came in and saved the day at the end. Tim Hardaway had himself a nice little game. We'll talk more about him later. Kristaps, of course, getting in some foul trouble, not having the best shooting game, but it is what it is. For me, I see this as a win because we didn't let the Cameron Johnsons or Daniel Houses of the Kings beat us or attack us. Instead, it was their actual good players, De'Aaron Fox and Buddy Hield. Well, what did you think about today's win?
Yeah, yeah, kind of same. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm happy they won, but the manner in which they won is a little concerning. Like, I almost feel like better dropping nearly 150 points against the Rockets and losing than beating Sacramento by a couple points in overtime. But I don't know. I'm glad they didn't start out 0 for 3 in the bubble. I definitely think they needed this win. I mean, really, just for their morale of being able to come from behind and actually win, in the final few minutes of the game. Uh, you know, it, it's just been crazy seeing their struggles, and so I'll take this win, even if it is over the Kings.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like you said, you gotta fight for all of them, and this was the first game the entire time in the bubble, if you include the scrimmages too, that we didn't start off just like killing it. Like Porzingis, he scored the first points of the game, but this is also the fifth game in a row I think where he scored the first points for us. I might be wrong about that. I know he scored the first points the last game and this game, but yeah, I mean the thing I noticed from the jump is that we just weren't as focused or as disciplined as we should have been, and that kind of stuck with us for the first three quarters. But you know, Luca and Luca especially and Tim definitely put together a nice little stretch at the end of the game to help us get over the hump. Um, the big meat and potatoes about this whole episode is gonna be more in depth about the Mavs and specifically what we need to add going forward because it is awesome. We're in the playoffs now. We're probably going to play the Clippers, though. We're probably going to get outed in the first round, if you ask me.
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
so we'll talk. We'll come back. We'll circle back to the Mavs. Yesterday's games. Did you watch? Did you miss any of yesterday's games?
Yeah, I did some. It was actually my wedding
Oh,
anniversary,
that's
so
right. Yeah.
I didn't get to catch all of it. Um, other than like the ending, which was pretty disappointing.
Yeah. Congratulations and happy anniversary, by the way. But
Thank you.
the best two games of the whole night were definitely the first two. Raptors and Heat should have gone to overtime. Basically,
Yeah,
it was a couple Jimmy Butler, non shots away from really being an overtime game. And then the Nuggets Thunder one also it went into overtime, and then the Thunder had a crazy last second rally to kind of keep it close. The Nuggets were beating them pretty handedly. The Thunder came back and kept it close, like I said, but the Nuggets in the end just, I mean, were the better team. They had the better player. Pacers beat up the Wizards pretty handedly. And I didn't watch that game. I didn't watch any of that game. I didn't watch any of the Sixers Spurs game. But I did watch the entire Grizzlies Pelicans game, of course, and it broke my heart because Jaren had some crazy, crazy plays and didn't really add up to much, which has kind of been the whole moral of the story for them in the bubble so far. And then the Jazz Lakers game was way better than I thought, and it makes me really happy because I feel like Anthony Davis is finally starting to get some of that love that he's deserved. Even though I think LeBron's definitely cruising right now, I think Anthony Davis is just playing out of his mind, and it makes me really happy to see. Uh,
catch some of the Lakers game, and man, like Anthony Davis might be the best player in this bubble right now, and it's probably not even close. Like it just feels like he can do absolutely everything. Like he doesn't feel like he's a big guy. Like when you watch him out on the court, like he moves just so effortlessly. He can hit the three when he wants to, and it's just wild because like, I agree with what you were saying too. Like it feels like LeBron's, I don't want to say coasting, but it's like he hasn't even turned up that next gear that he can. And so, man, like both LA teams are going to be hard to beat, but I just think if LeBron and AD are both locked in, I don't know that there's a better 1-2 punch than them right now.
I definitely agree. I'm gonna go as far as to say, and you know me, buddy. You know I'm Kyrie's biggest fan in the world. LeBron's never played with Anthony Davis. There's no doubt about it, and it's good. And part of the reason why it's good that Anthony Davis is taking over right now is because he's never played with LeBron. He's never played. His best chance at a series was with Boogie, and then Boogie got hurt, and then he ran into the Warriors twice. So I mean, he had his work cut out for him, and he averages 31 points on like 50%, which is ridiculous in its own right. But he's definitely been the best player for them in the bubble. And I said in the last episode, I don't think LeBron even turns it on until like, depending on who they play in the first round, I don't think he turns it on until way later, because these are the games where Anthony Davis needs to learn how to win, and the rest of the Lakers need to play, because Anthony Davis and LeBron James are going to be the 1-2 punch in the playoffs and in the finals and, whatever they do. But this is the moment for, like, Dion Waiters, Dwight Howard, all those guys to really come together as a team, get some chemistry growing for those tough moments, and for Anthony Davis to just, say, hey, I'm here, I'm Anthony Davis, I'm taking over the NBA. He leads the Lakers in every important statistical category, which I thought was hilarious, because LeBron said they'd never said I'd do it in the West. And it was clearly, Anthony Davis is the best player on the team. I love LeBron. I think he's the GOAT, but Anthony Davis is the best player on the team.
Yeah, it's funny. I know Dion Waiters is kind of a wild one, but he's been pretty fun to watch. Like he does not lack confidence.
Oh no.
And like I tweeted this a while ago, and I still stand by it. Like it feels like he's the anti-Rondo, like just the exact opposite in almost every way, and that's probably a good thing for the Lakers. Like they need another guy out there that's willing to score points.
Definitely, and he's giving me major like I want to say Lance Stevenson, because that's not right, but because he's Dion Waiters. He's always had this like confidence with him. He's never really played for like bad teams. He was on LeBron's 2015 Cleveland team. Obviously got traded. He was on the Thunder. He was on the Heat, and he balled out on the Heat. And until he got cut from the Heat, and with all the only major concerns with him has been the injuries before, and then the gummy bears. But we won't get into that.
Yeah.
So the article I wrote today, I wrote it. I started writing it halfway through the third because I was very, very disappointed in what I saw. So we're going to turn this into the free agency preview episode, because there are a lot of free agents I want to talk about that I think the Mavs can acquire. But I want people right now, like I'm dead set on 7th place, playing the Clippers in the first round. That is the expectation I had at the beginning of the year. I saw us go 20-9. I wanted us to do better, but obviously we couldn't get there. So I want to go ahead and just talk about what we can do to make the team a little better, and give Mavs fans or any casual fans a good perspective on players that I think you need to be watching for the Mavs, that we have an actual chance on acquiring. I'm going to go ahead and tell you now, 3 of them are Toronto Raptors. So I like hint at it. I don't really talk about it, but I've talked about all 5 of these guys coming to the Mavs or staying with the Mavs plenty of times, and I'm sure you saw. I want to get more detail about certain players that I want to acquire, but these I think are the best ones that we have a legit chance of acquiring. So I think these are the ones we need to focus the most on. Then there's obviously your Derek Jones Jr.'s, there's your Tristan Thompsons, there's your Harry Giles, who we played today. But right now I want to focus on the best players in the bubble the Mavs could acquire. So I got 5 of them for you. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So to keep this going, or just to let you know, there's only 2 American players on here. So we're gonna keep this. We're gonna keep this very foreign aesthetic we have going on for a long time. I hope. So the fifth option I have, and I want him badly. I think he's one of the more attainable ones. The only thing is he is going to be he's 36 years old. He's not going to be a guy that's looking for a paycheck. So he's going to be able to pretty much pick whatever team he wants to go on. There are a lot of teams that need stretch bigs, and I think Marc Gasol would just fit right in here. I wrote in the article I said he's shooting 40%. He's shooting 39.7% from three. So sue me. 2013 Defensive Player of the Year. The Mavs have a way of just squeezing out every little last juice of the veterans that we acquire. I think Marc Gasol would be tremendous here, even if that percentage does dip. He still would be one of the better centers that the Mavs have ever had. He's an underrated passer. He's tremendous defender. Obviously, he can't move like he used to, but I think he'd be a perfect fit on a vet minimum, even maybe a little more come next year. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. You know, it's like watching Boban out there. Like, as much as I love him, it's so easy for players to just get around him and score.
Exactly.
And it's like, man, like I love, like, he'll be in there for a few minutes, score like 6 or 7 points, grab 6 or 7 rebounds, and then his night's over. But it's like when KP is not out there, there's no big guy that can. I mean, I guess there's Maxey, but it would be nice having another big guy out there that can defend and isn't going to need to necessarily take away shots from Luka or anybody else, but their goal is just to be a big body in the paint. And yeah, so I think he would be a good fit. I think he would be pretty attainable too.
Yeah, like I don't think there's no way he gets more than 10 million, especially with the coronavirus and how free agency's looking. I don't see it happening. But unfortunately for us, that means that any team basically could get him. I know Boston needs a big. Either of the LA teams would love a stretch big, especially, well, no, either of them would love them. And like you said, Maxey is big, yes. We rely too much on Maxey for other things on defense, though. He can't be your primary defensive rim protecting big. He can for stretches, but like you said, if you take KP out, put Marc Gasol in, that's phenomenal because then you take away elite rim protection, you put elite rim protection back on the floor, and then you still have, elite switch defending with Maxey. And then both of them, at certain rates, can shoot pretty much anywhere on the court.
I know there's a lot of Raptors on this list, and, I think, like, they're not going to be able to keep everybody. They're going to have to start paying guys. And so I think it's would be wise for the Mavs to capitalize on their situation.
Yes, but unfortunately, every team has the same information on that, and
yeah,
like 2 of these guys are probably going to be. Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. The next one is one that should have been a Mav this last summer. There was a trade for him that fell through for him and Derek Jones. The second greatest Slovenian basketball player of all time, Goran Dragic. I think he is what JJ Barea was 3 years ago when he was like he was player of the week. And Dragic has been putting up outstanding numbers his entire career. He's a bit older, so he's also going to go on one of those vet minimum deals. And I get why a player would want to stay in Miami because they're a phenomenal team and it's Miami. But these European dudes, I don't know how it is in Slovenia specifically, but these European dudes love each other, love their country, and love winning. You put Goran Dragic next to his prodigal son and Luka. They score 50 points between the two of them every night. Unfortunately, though, that would kind of hinder us on defense a little. But I mean, we got Jalen Brunson coming back next year, and I mean he should take a load off. But yeah, in the article I said if we plan on scoring 150 points, Goran Dragic could easily be our next starting guard. What do you think about Goran?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I'm still like scratching my head about how that trade fell through. Like, it's so weird. And I think I was actually on vacation at the time, like walking through the redwoods, trying to read about this because I was so confused on like what was going on.
Yeah,
but I wish, like, I think if we had him now, a lot of the issues the Mavs have faced, closing out games,
for
would
sure
have solved a bit. I mean, because as much as I love Barea, was kind of hoping he would, not necessarily be on the team this year, that he would have just called it quits or retired. I mean, even watching him in today's game, it's just kind of painful,
So with Berea, he was playing phenomenal. He was playing his best basketball ever until he tore his Achilles, and we traded Dennis Smith Jr. Or right after, or right before we traded Dennis Smith Jr. He just hasn't played that good this year, man. I think Kirk tweeted he was like 1 or 2 of his last 27 threes. I mean, he's just lost a step. He's not what he was, and I don't really mind this year him staying. It's already too late. It doesn't really matter that much. But yeah, if you get Goran to come in and replace JJ Barea's minutes, or I want to package Dylan Wright and send him elsewhere because I believe he has a lot more potential. You get Goran to come in and fill in those minutes as a playmaker, as a starter or as a bench player. He's gonna perform. Able to close out games, which yesterday he is the reason Miami came back and had a chance to win that game. So you nailed it all on the head right there. That's primarily the reason I think we need more. We have playmaking, we have playmakers, and we have shooters, but we don't have enough playmaking at the very, very end to help us through some of the stretches like we could have used the last 2 games, and even today.
A good fit. I mean, even just employing him to be Luka's friend and kind of mentor on the team. Exactly. It's like when Luka's ripping his jersey or about to punch somebody or whatever. It's like there's nobody on the team that's there to calm him down and help him refocus. And it feels like Goran would be the perfect guy to do that.
Yeah, I agree. I think he even as a cheerleader, he'd be the best option we have, and he can always just come off the bench and score. Like if Trey Burke can come off the bench and score 31 points in a Rick Carlisle system on any given day, imagine what Goran could do.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have on my next one. This is one that I've gotten some flack for, kind of. I wouldn't say flack. People have mostly agreed with why you would take this guy. But he's also just kind of one of those guys where you're like, what? That's your third best? I think he's a perfect fit anyway. The two-time NBA block leader, Serge Ibaka. Before you go crazy, let me tell you that he shot 39% from 3 this year, 38.9 to be exact, on 4.5 from 3, which is his best year ever. He's an elite switch defender still. He can still block shots. He's not what he was, but he can still block shots. And the most important thing, if Marquise Chris ever puts his hands on Luka again, Serge Ibaka will straight up knock the dude out. And you know what? Kind of like we need Goran to be a cheerleader, we need Ibaka to come catch a body if he needs to.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I've been a big fan of his for a long time. And my thoughts are like, this team lacks a guy that's going to go in there and deliver a hard foul or get in somebody's face, it's kind of frustrating because I don't see anybody on this team, that's capable of doing that or just really has that as their personality.
Yeah, would do
and
that, yeah.
And Ibaka would immediately be, the toughest guy on the team.
Mm-hmm.
And
Besides
I don't know. Yeah. But I think he's just super interesting too. Like, I don't know if you've ever watched, he has like a YouTube channel, I think, or he has some type of show where he cooks food for players. Have you ever seen it?
I saw the Kawhi one, and it was hilarious.
Okay,
and
good.
I saw clips of the KD one. That one had a couple memes from it. But yeah, I saw the Kawhi
Yeah,
one.
I was going to say, I've actually only seen the Kawhi one too, just because I love Kawhi, and I find him just super fascinating. And on that episode, he makes Kawhi eat bull penis on a pizza. And
Yep.
It's just hilarious.
Oh no, I just got the notification from Woj. No. Jaren Jackson Jr. suffered a meniscus tear in his left knee and will miss the rest of the season. So that sucks.
No way.
Yeah, that sucks. That sucks even more because I know the Spurs are going to make it now. Yeah. All right, anyway, let's tough it out. My phone's about to blow up. Yeah.
Oh, man.
No, they're going crazy in the group text. Okay. So second on the list, I think it's pretty obvious. I said the other 2 Toronto Raptors, and I was Kawhi's Jason Terry, if that makes sense. Fred Van Elite has had one of the best offensive seasons I've ever seen from a point guard that, undrafted point guard from, oh gosh, where did he go? I don't know where he went, but he's absolutely balled out. He was the reason the Raptors won that game yesterday. He put up a nice little 36-7 game, and I've gone back and forth with this one a lot because I'm like, Fred VanFleet would be perfect for our guys. The guys we have, like Seth, KP, Luka, Fred VanFleet, and Kristaps would just score. But we would have to really bust out we would have to write a big fat check for him this summer, and I just don't know if he's worth. I don't know if he's worth the Kemba Walker effect like they have in Boston. He's really, really good, but he's not necessarily what we need. Even though we could always use more playmaking and more 3-point shooting. I really want him, but I go back and forth with myself on this one, like, all day. What do you think about Fred VanFleet?
Yeah, I feel like he's probably the least attainable, just because, like you said, I think he's going to get a big payday soon. I would love for the Mavs to get him. I think he would be, a slight step above what Tim Hardaway Jr. would be for this team. But, I'm curious, like, how much he's going to make, and is it worth it when you can, like, if you brought Tim Hardaway Jr. back or, whatever kind of contract he's going to get, would Fred VanFleet be that big of a step up, provided that he's getting paid a ton more? I don't know. I'd be curious to see him on another team other than Toronto, too. Like, I wonder if his game will continue to step up or what will kind of happen with him. But I am a big fan of him, and I think he would, make this team much better than what they are right now.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Like I said, I don't think that point guard play and playmaking and 3-point shooting are obviously things we need to improve on, but they're not the thing we need to improve on. We need to improve on perimeter defense, and we cannot play defense down low and get away with it in today's NBA, but we absolutely need help on the wing, which is why I think Serge would be absolutely perfect. A guy like Marc Gasol to help bolster your defense down low, so you're not asking Maxey to rim protect all the time, is also perfect. So with Fred VanFleet, I've seen two things. I've seen 17.5 for 4 years, which I would do it. It would hurt, but I would do it just because I know what we could be offensively with a guy like that, and then I know there's moves that we could also make to give us some more cap if we need. I've seen that. I've seen 4 for 17.5, and then I've also seen 4 for 22. Which, if my calculations are correct, we have about 26 to 29 going into free agency, depending on what we do with Tim Hardaway and depending on what we do with DeLon Wright, who I think is as good as gone. Courtney Lee's coming off the books, so that's an 11 million. That's 11 million right there, and then you also have JJ Barea coming off the books. You have Justin Jackson's team option, and all that. And like I said, Tim Hardaway to top it all off. But if it's 17.5 for 4, I have to do it just because I that team would be insane, and getting 17.5 for 4 would be like, okay, we have this. We can still get probably one other pretty decent wing player, and then we can go out and sign a guy like Dragic or Gasol if they decide to take the MLE.
I agree with that. I think if you can get him on a deal, you definitely roll the dice with him. But if you start to feel like the price tag is going to continue to go up and up, I really feel like if he doesn't stay with the Raptors, then the Knicks might overpay for him, which I don't think he would be necessarily a bad fit there. It just definitely feels like there's going to be a team that's going to probably overpay for him.
Yeah,
that would be my guess.
That makes a lot of sense. I'll also be interested to see, because of the cap situation, like last year you had Jimmy Butler do a sign and trade, Kevin Durant, D'Angelo Russell did a sign and trade. I'm going to be really interested to see if like Toronto's kind of like demands whoever signs him or whoever he signs with to give them some assets. And if it's us, that is only better in our favor, because like I don't want to give up Dorian Finney-Smith. I don't want to give up Maxi Kleber. But if you want to take pretty much anyone else off of our hands, I am not opposed to it. Toronto is a team that loved Delon Wright at one specific time. They traded him for Marc Gasol. So, they obviously see stuff that we don't. And they have 17,000 different defenses, so they could definitely benefit from him way more. But the last guy, most important guy on my list, can you guess who it is? Have you seen it?
I have seen the article, yeah. Okay. I'm actually looking at it right now.
Okay, so the number one priority for this free agency, we need depth, we need wing help, but we need to do something that we don't normally do, and that is retain the amazing players we have, and we need to re-sign Tim Hardaway Jr. to... I don't go over 20 mil, but I don't think any other team pays over 20 mil. I also think if a team were to offer 20 mil, he would be more inclined to sign long-term here, because I got it on pretty good authority. We're going to lock him up for a pretty long time, whereas other teams may not be as willing to do so. Averaging 15 and a half points on 2.5 free throws in today's day and age from a starting shooting guard is almost like unheard of. I'm talking to you, James Harden. There's only a few other guys that are like that, and he's one of those guys that feeds tremendously off of the way others are playing and his own energy. So I think as long as even though he hasn't had the best bubble, and he had a good game today, even though he hasn't been the best during the bubble, he's still the third best player on this team, and you have to do basically anything you can to keep him around, because he is one of the best shooters in the league, and there's just no doubting it. Like, you saw the way he played in February. You can't deny that he is a top. I don't know if this is crazy, but I think he's a top 10 shooting guard, depending on what you consider for that position. What do you think about Tim Hardaway?
Yeah, I mean, I think this team needs to reward him. I mean, he's doing exactly what everybody wanted and hoped he would, be doing. I mean, shooting over 40% from three while still taking like 7 threes a game is impressive. And like most of the time, it feels like other than Luka, like, no other guy is really willing to, take matters into their own hands outside of Tim Hardaway Jr. So I think he's, a really important part of this team. I think it was at the beginning of this season, he mentioned something about wanting to be the Michael Finley to, Luka and KP. And I think he's done exactly that. I mean, he's having arguably his best season ever. I think it helps that he's playing next to Luka and KP. So I think they need to keep this trio together. And, I don't know how much he's going to get, but it definitely feels like he'll be playing the next few seasons here in Dallas, at least.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. I've only heard of one real team that really wants him, and for him, like, going off of what that team is and going off of what we have, and honestly, just from a state income tax standpoint also, I think our culture's better, our team's better, and as long as we treat him like he is the third best player, which he is, and reward him for it, like you said, then there's no reason why we can't succeed with him. And like, really, I feel like if he's one of those players that if he got a big deal, he would become more comfortable. Obviously, he got that big payday from the Knicks, and it kind of threw a bad taste in everyone's mouth about him. But he was a really dominant scorer in Atlanta, and he was pretty good his rookie year on the Knicks as well. He just did not. Everyone, and myself included, I don't know about you, but I definitely considered him, as a tax coming with the KP trade. But he has way more than proven me wrong. I mean, he's better than the last shooting guard we had at that price. I'm not going to name names, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's exactly what I considered him to be, and now to know, like, I mean, he's been just, incredible for this team, and like I said, doing exactly what they wanted him to do. Like, the trade already felt pretty lopsided, and now it's just incredibly lopsided. Because, what wasn't Trey Burke thrown in that deal? I mean, obviously he kind of bounced around before coming back to the Mavs on the bubble, but it's just, I mean, it's kind of crazy thinking what the Mavs got in that deal.
Yeah, and so I know that the DeAndre Jordan and Wes Matthews weren't like what New York wanted. They were expiring salary dumps, which I get. But we still have all 4 of those players on our roster right now, and they only have 1. They have the 2 picks, 2.5 picks, but it is what it is, and those picks aren't going to be much of nothing, especially if we keep playing the way we did today. We're going to end up 18th. We're going to trade up trade down or draft a really good, serviceable NBA player. And I mean, we're not slacking next year. I don't think we hover around 40, 41 wins next year. I think we're definitely going to be way better. But the Suns are now 3-0. They beat the Clippers. I haven't seen this, but it says Booker 35 points, including game-winning buzzer beater. So I'm gonna go check that out right now. And while we were recording, during like very very early on, I was looking at the scores, and the Pacers were up 19-3 on the Magic. They're now up 53-29.
Wow.
I'm gonna go ahead and assume T.J. Warren is having himself quite a little game. Thanks again, man, for coming on. It's always fun talking to you on Twitter and giving you a hard time because you love Damian Lillard so much, and I get it. He's he can sometimes hit regular season or first round game winners. When it comes down to it, he's got to have CJ and Nurkic bail him out. But it is what it is.
Wow. Okay.
Kyrie bailed out LeBron, and McCollum bailed out Lillard. In Game 7s. So I mean, there's levels to it. Maybe one day you'll see. But hey, man, it's been good talking to you.
Talk soon.
Yeah, it's been good talking to you. I think I've emailed Nick. I think I'm gonna be doing some writing and some recording for Grizzlies OTG. So hopefully we can work together at some point on there. Obviously, the
for sure.
News about Jaren is gonna hold my mood back on that a little bit, but it is what it is. Injuries happen. Hopefully he can get back in time for the Grizzlies to make their playoff run next year.
No, I've been, recently just moved from Oregon back to Texas, so still trying to get settled in and get caught up with everything that's going on in the NBA. I actually love this bubble. Like, I was very, I had no idea how this was going to work. I felt like it was probably going to be a bad idea, but now that we're in the middle of it, like, there's just nothing better. Like, I love that the NBA has figured this out and that they're doing it so well.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm on the same thing with you. I was very very worried, and then I was like, if we can get past the first or second scrimmage game, we'll be lucky. But I mean, I got to give the NBA props. They've done the bubble mentality completely correct. You look at other sports that aren't doing it as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so congrats on the move. Congrats on the anniversary, man. Definitely look forward to hearing from you later on in the future. Hopefully some of these free agency dreams come true. There's scenarios that I've worked out in my head where we can get all 4 of those guys. The only problem is we can't retain the one that we need the most. So take with that what you will. Thanks again, everybody, for listening. Thanks for Charles to hopping on. You can follow him at Your Guy Charles. I will leave that in the description as well. Thanks again, everybody, and go Mavs.